Well, welcome along to this session where we are showcasing the property portfolio management software, Lendlord. My name is Vanessa Warwick. I'm a landlord of 18 years now and also co-founder of the Property Tribes Forum. And I was a very early adopter of the Lendlord software. And at Property Tribes, we've always encouraged landlords to use digital tools. And that's something that we're going to be talking about in this session with Lendlord co-founder and CEO Avram Shahar, who's joining us from Tel Aviv. And Avram, I think we both wanted just to start by saying we're delighted to be part of the first ever online LIS Super Shows, and it's quite interesting because it was the whole COVID-19 pandemic that forced the shows online and has really accelerated change within many sectors and very much so within the property sector, and this plays very much towards being a digital landlord, and many more landlords through things that have gone on through COVID are going to be recognising the power of using digital tools. So we're here to talk about Lendlord today. Avram's very kindly asked me to host this session. And Avram, I guess, let's start at the beginning. What exactly is Lendlord?
Thanks, Vanessa, and hi, everyone. So Lendlord is a platform for property investors and landlords that helps them manage, track, and optimize their portfolio's performance. And what it means, okay? So first, you can track all of your relevant data and property details in a secure way in the cloud, and it's accessible from everywhere, from your desktop, from your mobile, on the go, from your sofa. You have access to your key data, and the platform generates insights. So the insights are like around performance. So you can see the performance of the entire portfolio and performance of subset of the portfolio. You can define segments and see which properties are now underperforming, which properties outperforming, and make better decisions. We also integrated our platform to some partners that feed the platform with more insights from sourcing companies. So you can find postcode information when you use our Deal Analyser. So the Deal Analyser is a great tool for property investor to evaluate potential acquisitions. The good thing with Lendlord is that you can basically take a view, overview of the portfolio with your pipeline. So you can take a look on how your portfolio might look if you purchase a new property. Another thing that we do is we have a module that helps the landlords to track income and expenses. We have a module that helps them track the tenants and tenancies details and rent collection. The thing is that as much data the platform gets, the user gets more insights and more accurate insights. And the insights can be around tax, performance, finance. So you can find in Lendlord tailor-made products that fit to your profile. So we know how to analyze a portfolio and match it to different lenders and see what rates are available for you right now according to my situation. So this is in a high level thing, this is it. And the good thing with Lendlord is also a good thing with the collaboration of Lendlord and Property Tribes is that Lendlord, as I see it, is a community product. We get every day great feedback from our users and from our community and from Property Tribes community. And this feedback helps us basically enhance the platform every day and provide great product to our users.
Indeed, and I think it is good to look at using digital tools through the COVID-19 lens, because there's no doubt that margins have been slimmed for landlords and risks have been amplified. And basing, investment decisions on gut instinct or, guesswork or very low level back of a fag packet calculation, so to speak, is probably not very wise at the best of times, but even less so when we are in such challenging market conditions. So Lendlord is a very, very powerful tool for investors to understand their property portfolio literally from every angle. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. A lot of people have various pieces of their portfolio jigsaw puzzle, but Lendlord shows you the actual picture on the box, and that's what you really need to see in the current circumstances. So as Avram said, it does give a lot of performance insights. We've got a very, very powerful deal analyzer tool on there, which we're going to give a very quick demo of in a moment. But these tools are there to help mitigate your risk, help you improve your bottom line, save you time, save you money, and help you just work a lot more efficiently. And we do believe that landlords that adopt this, what we call a digital first approach, will be able to survive and thrive no matter what the market conditions. And very, very important to remember that numbers never lie. They maths is maths. It tells you the truth. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. So this software is very, very powerful, and it's free to use as well. So absolutely no reason not to join up and start having a little look around. Now, Avram, I think part of this session we were going to just give a very quick overview of some of the headline metrics. And as Avram's going to demonstrate, you can start getting data insights by just literally putting in 2 or 3 pieces of information about a property.
This is the My Portfolio page. Basically, this is like the most used page in the platform. Here you can keep all of your relevant details on each property. And you can see at a glance, at your fingertips, the summary of your portfolio in terms of what is the current estimated value, the current mortgage balance, how much you have in equity, and other important data in terms of what is your current portfolio LTV, the total rental income, and more. You can switch to performance view, and then you can see what was your last 12 months cash flow. We will see the deal analyzer. So the deal analyzer also generates some projection to the future. So you can see like the prediction for the next 12 months cash flow according to your assumption. And also what will be like your return, like potential return in 10 years. It's also something that Lendlord can do according to your assumptions. You can play with the filter. So basically you can have any kind of property stored on Lendlord. And if you have properties under private ownership, you can filter just them. You can filter the properties on company ownerships, or if you have like different companies, you can also manage it on Lendlord. You can also go to a specific property, drill down to this, and then you can see the metrics of this specific property in terms of value, mortgage balance, equity, and also in terms of its performance. So this is, Vanessa, the main screen, My Portfolio. Now, in terms of analyzing a new deal, I think that perhaps we can showcase the deal analyzer.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that those headline figures are absolutely vital for all landlords to understand. Very, very important to understand such figures as your net monthly cash flow, and very important to understand the total portfolio loan to value. And, all of this information is what lenders are looking for when they're thinking about offering you a loan in a mortgage. So if you've got all this information to hand as well, it's very much part of your business plan when you apply for finance. And we've had very positive feedback from the lenders who have, worked with landlords who have actually printed out these screens as part of their mortgage application, and it shows how professional and organized you are as well. So that's an added benefit right there. But yeah, let's go on to the deal analyzer. Now, this was developed by Aviram and an American colleague, Brian, who's one of the top real estate brokers in America. And they worked on this for many, many months because their aim was to try and create the most powerful and sophisticated property deal analyzer on the market. And boy, have they achieved that. And we've had so much positive feedback about this deal analyzer. And of course, it's absolutely vital to analyze property deals. You do not want to end up with a poor quality, poor performing property in your portfolio. And the simplest way to do that is to run the numbers, or stack the deal, as we say. With digital tools like Lendlord, you've got a very, very sophisticated deal analysis engine. And we do have a full webinar available on all of the different metrics that the deal analyzer delivers. Some of them you may not be familiar with, but they're ones that you will want to learn what they mean and why they're relevant to you and your portfolio. So as you can see, Avram's just starting to populate the deal analyzer with some figures, and you actually don't have to put a great deal of information in to start seeing the data appearing. So you're going to get all sorts of different metrics to help you understand if the deal is actually viable. Now, this is very important as well, to stop you wasting time on deals that don't actually stack up. None of us have more than 24 hours in the day. You don't want to be driving around looking at properties that it turns out that they don't actually stack up financially for you. So just as you're enjoying this webinar from the comfort of your own home, you can actually do all this deal analysis in your armchair. And it's a very, very efficient way to work. Stops you wasting time, as I said. Then it identifies which properties actually do work, and those are the ones that you can focus on. And it can also even indicate to you what's the maximum you would want to offer on that property for it to be viable for you and your portfolio. And of course, that might be individual to each person watching today. So Avram, the deal analyzer is actually very, very straightforward and simple to use. It's just a matter of putting in a few key metrics and your acquisition costs, because clearly you want to understand how the deal stacks up, including the acquisition costs.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically you need to, as you said, like, you can start with only 3 inputs, like put the address, you will get the Google map with auto completion, then put the purchase price and put the expected rental income. Then immediately the deal analyzer will populate the first year metrics and the long-term metrics. Now you can just tweak the data and basically play with the different scenarios. You can put different property values. So let's say that you think you can get this property with a lower price, and this definitely will impact your first seat metrics, also the long-term metrics. The stamp duty is something that we calculated, and we take into account the new rules by March 2021. But you can also tweak this number as well. Put your refurb cost, as Vanessa, as you mentioned, be conservative. Put all the costs that you think that you need to put on this property after you make the purchase. Put the closing costs, and also put any other costs that you think might happen. Be conservative. Put all the numbers to see how it impacts your metrics. Then play with the cash investment. We put 35% as a default value, but of course you can play with this slider and you can see, okay, how much you want to put in cash and how much you need to put in cash. The next section is the loan detail, the mortgage, and here basically you have the deposit. Be aware that the cash investment is not a deposit. Deposit is part of the cash investment. We use how much you will put in cash to calculate the deposit, and then it will of course impact the entire loan to value. This is the number that will impact also the rate that you might get from lenders. The cash investment take into account also the other purchase costs. So you will take the stamp duty, the refurb cost, and the closing costs. when you are in this section, in the loan details, you can use our mortgage engine. I think that we will need like another seminar just for that, but using Lendlord, you can get results from many lenders according to your profile as a property investor. So we analyze your portfolio and tailor-made financial products for you. Let's say that for this example, we take capital and interest, and I want to take it only for 15 years to see how it impacts my investment. Then go to the operating monthly expenses. So if you are going to use like a manager, like an agent, put the fee that it takes, usually 10%, might be less. You can play with this slider as well. What is going to be your landlord insurance on a monthly basis? If there is service charge or ground rate, how much you're going to pay on utilities, etc. Put everything you think might happen, be conservative. Then go to the future assumptions. In the long-term assumptions, you can play with the annual property appreciation, with the rental appreciation, with the inflation, and very important, with the occupancy rate. So you can put like this conservative scenario and less conservative scenarios. Let's put like 92, like let's say 1 month of vacancy. Then at each time, like you change something, you can look at how it impacts your first 3 metrics and the long-term metrics. The long-term, you can also define currently it's 10 years, but I can go to 20 years or even more. Or if I want to do like a short-term investment, I can also play with this slider. Then you can drill down to the prospect report. Using the prospect report, basically, you have a summary. You can also print it, download it as a PDF. So you have a summary of all the details that you entered. And there are like 2 nice charts of the development of your investment over the years. So how your equity will go up, the mortgage balance, because it's capital interest in this example, will go down, and the development of the cash flow over the years, the breakdown of the expenses, and also the breakdown of the NOI and the net cash flow over the years. Vanessa, I want to add something before we go to the postcode information. That's also very important when you basically do like a due diligence for a new acquisition.
Yeah, I just think how important it is to understand the long-term impact of owning a property. I think too many people just really focus on that, that moment of acquisition, and you need to use the long-term assumptions to understand how that property may perform over time. If you hopefully you're in this for the long term, and you're going to be investing for maybe 20 or 25 years on this particular property, you need to see the long-term view as well as the short-term view, and I think this is also a very useful tool if you're buying property at auction, because it can actually assist you in deciding what is the maximum bid you should make on that property, where it works for you from a financial perspective. So again, I think that just demonstrates how using a tool like this can actually help mitigate risk and help you make wiser decisions. And as you can see, as Avram changes the inputs, the outputs immediately update. So it's great to use because it's just instant gratification. You get your answers straight away. And you might want to be looking at 20 or 30 different prospective deals. Run them through the Lendlord Deal Analyser. You can save the ones that you think are the ones that have the most potential. We are in extremely uncharted waters, and nobody has ever experienced what happens to a property market in a post a pandemic. So err on the side of caution, and I particularly like to see a portfolio that's around about 65 to 70% loan to value, no more than that, just to protect your margins in these uncertain times. So I'm sure you'll see just from this very quick overview how powerful this tool is, and how many insights it shares, and how, as we've stated, you can make decisions based on data and numbers rather than just kind of guesswork. That's really going to help you mitigate your risk for your acquisition. And as my friend John Howard always says, some of the best deals that you do are the ones that you don't do, because if you did them, they would end up causing you a lot of financial aggravation. So he always says that some of the best deals are the ones you walk away from, because you should never have bought them, and it was good that you walked away. And again, this deal analyzing tool can help you decide whether to walk away from a property deal or not. So again, we stress it is free to use, and you can just log in and start using it straight away. And we want everybody at the end of this webinar to immediately go to lendlord.io and create your account and start adding your properties. And it really is like magic. It all starts appearing before your very eyes as you start to put the different properties and their data in. So yes, that is the Deal Analyzer. We've just given a very basic overview. You will be interested to know what things like cap rate are, etc. And as I mentioned, there's a little I button there that explains what each individual metric is. So this is useful to you. And we also have another webinar on the Lendlord YouTube channel that gives a full introduction to the Deal Analyzer with Brian, the gentleman that helped Aviram create it, and he explains all of these metrics. So you can pop along to Lendlord's YouTube channel for a lot more content if you want to explore this software further. Okay, Aviram, where are we going next?
So I think I showcased it a bit, the postcode information screen.
Oh, yes. We haven't mentioned the word due diligence, and that is what this Deal Analyzer is a big part of. Now, due diligence simply means undertaking research and checking and verifying everything. And in the context of property, that means understanding your investment from every angle. So there might be things, obviously, there's obvious things that you want to know, such as sales and rental comparables, but you need to dig down deeper than that. We've got many changes happening in the property sector, lots of changes within tenant demographics, lots of changes within tenant priorities. You need to really understand how the market is moving and really do intense due diligence on the property, the area, and of course the tenant demand, because without a tenant in your property paying your rent, it's not an asset, it's a liability. And tenant demand is a very movable feast post-COVID-19, as many landlords on property tribes are finding. So this screen that Avram is showing us now gives you such things as local crime analytics. This is important. They can affect the desirability of an area, particularly if you want to rent to tenants who are families. Then we've got other Avram's just showing you the nature of the crime in the area, so you can see the split on that. And then there's also some fields that show you the demand, whether it's a buyer or seller market, and other intel like that. So this is all open source information that we have pulled into the Lendlord software, so you can see demographics of people in the area and so on. So this gives you some good due diligence insights about the property and the local area, and it's showing you as you can see, the capital growth from the last 5 years. So that could give you an indication of how it might be going forward, or if there hasn't been much growth, then you'd want to look into why, and if there's potential for growth, or if there's been a huge amount of growth, you might think, well, maybe that growth spurt has come to an end and it's going to go a little bit more static. So these are all tools to help you make the investment decisions that we've been saying you need to make through a very informed lens. And of course, everybody has got different requirements. They've got different goals as to why they're investing in property. Everybody's completely individual. And one of the great things about property is it's never a case of one size fits all. You can make it exactly what you want it to be, what suits your particular circumstances and finances. And again, this Lendlord tool can be customized exactly to you and your situation and what you require, what you're looking for. So this is very, very personalized data. Now, we're not saying that something's right or something's wrong, because it isn't. It's just what is. And you have to look at that and look at it through your own lens. Some landlords on property tribes, for instance, say that they look for 8% yield. As long as they see 8% yield, they'll buy all day long. Other landlords are happy with 5%. It really does depend on you and your own personal preferences. So we do recommend that when you're inputting the data, probably to be a little bit conservative. So if you think the expected rent, post COVID is going to be a little bit less than pre-COVID, then you might want to take that down a little bit, and then you'll see all the metrics and data changing in the top of the screen there. So for instance, you could see if the property still stacks up, you're struggling, maybe it's a property you already have in your portfolio, you can put it into the Deal Analyser and see how it would stack up if you had to reduce the rent by, say, £200 a month to get it let, of which some landlords are having to do, particularly in London.
Be conservative on the numbers, see the metrics, but also take a look on the area, on the postcode, on the last trends. With Landlord, you can do it digitally in one platform. And as you mentioned, Vanessa, you can also see a view of your existing properties together with the pipeline in one platform. So this is one very important thing, that to have everything together, and then you can see how adding a prospect property might impact your existing portfolio and the performance of the entire portfolio, and basically the growth of your property business. So we definitely recommend to embrace digital tools, and Landlord is one of them. Yes, I think that's it.
Yes, and I would say that if you are a new landlord just starting out, to start using this software from day one of your property and landlord journey, it would be such an incredible advantage to you. I only wish that there were tools like this when I started 18 years ago. Until very recently, I relied on an Excel spreadsheet produced by my husband, Nick. But when I saw the Lendlord software, well, that spreadsheet that I'd used for 17 odd years was blown out of the water and resigned to never be used again, because Lendlord is where it's at for landlords now. This is the digital format. It's real time. It's instant updates as you put in data. Very, very valuable insights. And you may well be a portfolio or seasoned landlord watching this, and you might think, well, crikey, I've got 30 odd, 50 odd properties. You'd be surprised how quickly it is to input the data. I put our portfolio of 20 odd properties in about 20 to 25 minutes. So it wasn't at all difficult to move across to this digital format. We're just winding this up now, Avaram, and we do want to encourage everybody to start using the software. You can't press a wrong button or do anything. It's very intuitive. You'll have noticed that there's many graphics and graphical representations, because these some people like to see numerical information, other people like to see graphical information, so we've got that covered. So you can see this data in the format that suits you as an individual. And we do want to encourage you to start your Lendlord account, start having a look around the software, and there is a chat assistance on the site, so if you get stuck or you need some help or need a question answered, you can just go straight into the chat box and ask your question. And also Avram is available to do individual orientation and training sessions if you're very keen to get started with this software. So you can get in touch with him after this webinar and book an appointment with him should you wish to. But we just want to encourage you to get into the Lendlord ecosystem, start using this data and these metrics to your benefit, mitigate your risk, save time, save money, and just have the edge in this very, very challenging landscape for landlords.
One sentence, like make decisions based on data, less on intuition. And I think that these kind of tools definitely can help you do that and grow your property business wisely.
Well, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. This was just a whistle-stop tour around the incredible Lendlord software. We've only really scratched the surface of what it will achieve. We just want to stress again that becoming a digital landlord will solve about 95% of landlord pain and problems. So we really do want to encourage you to jump across to Lendlord. It's lendlord.io. Create your account, start inputting your property data, and start seeing that magic that we talked about happen, where data and insights personalized to you and your properties start to appear before your very eyes. So please do jump across to Lendlord. But from myself and Aviram, we'd just like to say thank you very much for joining us on this session. We're very happy to be part of the LIS Super Shows, and we hope that you enjoy and get value from the rest of your time on the webinars. So we'll hopefully see you either on the Lendlord platform or indeed on propertytribes.com, where we're both active every day. So we hope to see you very soon somewhere on the Landlord social web. But for now, it's goodbye from myself and goodbye from Aviram in Tel Aviv. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.